Record.
Great morning, great morning, great morning. I am Nicole D. Jones, and I am just happy and grateful for another day. I'm happy and grateful for life. I say it every week. I'm happy and grateful. I don't take days for granted. I don't take life for granted. I don't take you for granted. So I'm happy and I'm grateful for you. And I'm going to remind you that you are healthy, you're wealthy, you're prosperous. I don't even know if I said that right. My mind's all over the place. I think that's right though. Everything your hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow great things. I'm so off this morning. Forgive me, y'all. And I'm gonna tell y'all why. But everything your hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow great things because you're great. Okay, just because I'm stumbling on it today, don't mean I don't mean it, because I do. But I have been perplexed. So y'all know that the government shutdown is over. So that's a good thing. But how they tried to call us back to work was muffed up. It was jacked up, okay? And it's the whole bullying spirit. So it's got me kind of messed up today because I was supposed to start working back last week, and they sent me like this crazy message talking about if I didn't, I was AWOL, consider me AWOL. And so now they calling me because I'm still not online. And then I got to do my call. So forgive me for the stumbling this morning. Y'all know I'm very transparent. I don't ever want you to feel like what I'm saying does not matter. It doesn't stick, because it does. My mind's just in a bunch of different places this morning. And no, I'm not going to delete it because it is what it is. But this is the thing. I wanted to talk about emotional intelligence because I know that we've been talking, especially for the last month. You know, I really feel like in order for us to be the best version of us unapologetically, in order for you to conquer and deal with repetitive cycles, all these different things, we got to recognize and understand, like I've been telling you, we're stuck on Romans 12:2. But you got to understand that there's a spirit of fear, spirit of pride, spirit of victim that we all wrestle with. Okay. The depth and the level of it may be different, but we all wrestle with it in some kind of way, or we have, or we will. Okay. But this is the thing, we got to also understand, because we know that there's emotional intelligence, there's spiritual emotional intelligence. And when we do the heart work, which is the hard work, it's internal. We're triune beings, okay? We're supernatural in this natural space. So we've got to learn how to deal with things internally first, all right? So what I've been thinking about, especially with everything that's going on, and hear me very clearly, because I say it all the time. Do I need income? Yes. But there are multiple streams of income. And I don't discredit it like I do not need my job. Okay. I need the stream of income. I don't need the corporation, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Because even when that, what naturally is the largest stream of income that I have, it was taken away from me immediately. No, just is what it is. No, nothing about what is needed or not. But Jireh, all right, has provided for me. And this is why I'm saying we've got to know that we are supernatural in a natural space. Money comes to you from the north, the south, the east, and the west. The cherry on the cake was this weekend, another unexpected check. So, did I get my income from CDC? No. But has every need been met? Yes. Is it uncomfortable? A little bit. But everything happened. Life, this journey happens for me. It does not happen to me. So even in the stretching, there's been a lesson, but there's also been confirmation that Jehovah Jireh is my provider. So now they trying to, strong arm me this morning, and they all know I got a call. So anyway, listen. So I want to talk today about emotional intelligence, okay? And this is the thing. What is it? I'm just going to do it this way. What is emotional intelligence? It's the ability to recognize, and so, when you're dealing with therapists and neuroscience, it's EI. It stands for emotional intelligence, okay? It's the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, and to recognize, understand, and influence the emotion of others, okay? So emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, and to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. All right? Why does this matter? Because it controls our reactions, it strengthens our communication, it prevents emotional cycles, it deepens intimacy, it protects relationships, it increases spiritual clarity, and it builds personal and relational stability. All right. So the four concepts of emotional intelligence is self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. All right. So this is the thing, because we're supernatural in this natural space. And listen, I know you all have probably heard or been took classes on emotional intelligence, but we can always, we're teachable. All right, we're humble, and we always can learn and grow. So listen, the spiritual dimensions of emotional intelligence. Many reactions are connected to spiritual influences, okay? And they're the three spirits we've been talking about: the spirit of fear, the spirit of pride, and the spirit of victim, okay? The victim mindset. Why? Because fear, if you're wrestling with a spirit of fear, this is what you will be dealing with: anxiety, overthinking, or shutting down. So when conflict comes, if you get anxious, you overthink, or you shut down, the root of that, or the foundation of that, is the spirit of fear. All right? Spirit of pride. If you're defensive, if you need to control, or if you're resistant, that's in a foundation of spirit of pride. If you blame, if you're stagnant, hopelessness, hopelessness, that comes from a spirit of victim mindset. Okay? But this is the thing. When we're kingdom aligned, because I tell y'all, your original DNA is kingship, it's kingdom, okay? When you're kingdom aligned, emotionally intelligent people walk in discernment, self-control. That's the fruits of the spirit: wisdom, peace, and authority. All right. From previous things we've been talking about, rims, dimension, and portals. Okay? Dimensions, that's the levels of emotional or spiritual awareness. All right? The rims, that's spiritual territories you operate from, be it if it's faith, fear, pride, freedom. Okay? Everything's spiritual. That's the realm. Portals, be it if it's emotional, mental, or spiritual. They're entry points, okay? They're formed by beliefs, trauma, or patterns. And do a lot of teaching today, okay? So emotional intelligence, it helps us identify which rim we're really operating from. We've got to get this, y'all. If we don't get this, we're going to be like the little hamster in the little hamster wheel. Okay? So we got to know that everything happens inward out, not outward in. So this is the thing. You got to know that emotions, and I told y'all when we go to the five senses, emotions are signals. They are not your identity. Okay? I hope this frees someone. It's freeing me. But you also got to know, and this is dealing with the mindset, all right? You got to know that when your emotions, they're signals, they're signs of what's going on inside of you. They are not your identity. You also got to know that you can't heal from something that you're not willing to confront. We can't work on it if we can't acknowledge it. Triggers, they show unhealed places. It's not a weakness. Triggers are not a sign of weakness. Okay? If you're triggered, it don't mean you're weak. It's trying to show you places that there is something going on. It's just unhealed. All right? It's that space that if someone scratch it, that you can scratch it through the Band-Aid and it's just gonna bleed. Your first emotional response is based off instinct. So just because you fly off the first time don't mean you cray. Okay? So your first emotional response is instinct. But that second one is a choice. This is why we can't judge each other. Because when someone's emotionally high, they may black all the way out. That's instinct. But that second response, that's a choice. Okay? This is why we got to renew our mind. Romans 12:2. You got to renew your mind daily, moment by moment, situation by situation. Okay? Mind renewal controls emotional patterns. It's back to that neuroplasticity. All right? We've got to start creating new pathways neurologically. So, your mindset determines which spiritual realm you operate from. A renewed mind will break fear, pride, and victim cycles. All right? So, what are we going to do to educate ourselves on this? You got to learn emotional vocabulary. Why do we need emotional vocabulary? Anybody? Come off mute. Why do we need emotional vocabulary? We mute?
So we could ask for what we need.
Why? Why do we need our words?
Oh, words are important, and that's how God shaped the world, right?
To understand the feeling.
Our words have power. Okay? It's no different than Satan has authority, but he has no power. So he has the authority to play in your mind, but there's no power to what's being played until we speak it out. He can tell you in your mind that you don't feel well. But once you say, I don't feel well, what happens? You start to not feel well. So this is why it's important to have emotional vocabulary, because you can start speaking a thing. Okay? When you begin to understand attachment patterns, when you begin to understand the things that are attached to you, the patterns that we repeat, the vocabulary is what we use to break it. So you got to be willing to study your emotional history. You got to be willing to look at what makes you emotional. Who makes you emotional? There are certain things that James, Kadasia, Jaden can say to me that immediately puts me in a space. And it's not even that the root of those things came from them. Because y'all already, anybody who know me personally know, y'all know, I'm 110, 10 toes down. Y'all don't listen to me, okay? I can keep saying something till I'm blue in the face. And y'all just don't listen to me. Then when it happened, I be like, you don't listen to me. I know that, but that is a trauma place for me, all right? So I can pacify it with y'all, but let me have to repeat myself with my husband, my kids, or my grandkids. It will set me off because they don't listen to me. All right? So we've got to, that's something I have to recognize. And this is why now I have to be like, Egypt. Because I'm like, right? Deja's not a yelling parent. I am. She don't like me yelling at her kids. Okay? So I'm having to recognize that that's a place for me, because I feel like, for starting with my mom, I would say something and nobody would listen to me. So now at 52, that's a trigger, okay? But this is what I mean by we've got to get to a place where we can study our own emotional history. So, why are words important? Because naming emotions reduces their power. So, if I can name it, I can tame it. All right? Where if I can name what makes me go out of control, I can control it. I can tame it. Name it to tame it. They teach you this in therapy. I didn't make this up. Today ain't a Nicole makeup day. All right? This is the thing for the neuroscience part. Limbic system versus the prefrontal cortex. We'll talk about it. Well, you have to know. So when we are dealing with the meal plan, the E, education brings discernment. That is the whole reason. We deal with the mindset. We educate ourselves. With education comes discernment. You can discern a thing. This ain't all spooky and deep. It's when you can think the next thought, when you can have rational decision making. Okay? And then it's lined up with the spirit man of you. So the more you understand your emotions, the more you can recognize spiritual interferences. They're not listening to me because they're like, oh, let me just scratch Gigi's trigger. Let me scratch my, now that daughter and that husband of mine. Now the older people, they might intentionally scratch it every now and again. Like, I'm gonna get her. But for the most part, we don't walk around like, oh, let me just be a trigger scratcher for someone today. That's why you gotta check you, and you gotta understand these things, because people don't go around, especially if they supposed to be your riders. They're not intentionally trying to hurt you. That's your junk that you gotta deal with. Okay? Accountability. You need emotional mirrors. This is why I said you gotta know who's called to your life and when. Okay? You need the emotional mirrors. You need for someone to be able to tell you, Nicole, every time someone don't do what you say, you trigger it. See, they'll think that it's because I want all this control. I wrestle with control. I'm working. I name it. I'm learning to tame it. But some of that is not control for me. It's just trauma. It's stuff that has happened, which has made me in a defense become controlling, and now I'm trying to work it out. That makes sense? So you got to have those people in your life that can tell you, and that you can be humble enough to receive from. You ain't gonna like it, but you got to learn how to rest your lips if you know that there's someone called into your life and they don't mean you harm. Okay? Accountability also reveals blind spots. We all have them. Just like if you drive in a car, there's a blind spot. You could be the best driver, but there is one spot on every car that every driver cannot see in the mirror. Okay? Your accountability is what helps you with your blind spots. Your accountability should be someone that you're willing to be vulnerable with. Because the more vulnerable you're willing to be, the deeper the connection can come, the more you're willing to receive, the better and the deeper you'll heal. Okay? And healthy feedback, it increases emotional maturity. That's Proverbs 11:14. In the multitude of counsel, there is safety. All right? So accountability, what it really does is it prevents spiritual deception, and it will help you regulate your emotional patterns. Okay? Lifestyle. Emotional maturity becomes real through daily habits. All right? You've got to practice emotional clarity. You can't just try to understand it. You got to practice this. Daily discipline will stabilize spiritual maturity. So what happens is your emotional habits, that's really what determines our spiritual capacity. Some of us are not gaining territory because we just don't have the spiritual capacity to hold our blessings. We can write it, we can see it, we can believe it, but we're not getting it because we do not have the spiritual capacity to maintain it. Okay? That's why we got to operate in our emotional habits, our spiritual. Okay? We got to get our emotional habits in place. So listen, excuse me. When it comes to relationship, it's 10:30. I ain't gonna go into it. It's 10:30. I started late because I forgot to send the thing out. We get started late. If this is something you want to continue to learn about, please, Mondays, 10 o'clock. Okay? I'm trying to get a CRM that'll send the thing out again. I stopped using the other one because that was the only thing that it was doing, and it just cost too much money for that one feature when I know that there are other things or there are other platforms that I could be using. But this is the thing. What do I want you to do this week? I want you to work on healthy emotional intelligence vocabulary. So when I say name it, when you can name it, you can tame it. So if you know that you wrestle with anger, or you know that, like I said, for me, feeling repetitive, it does something for me, right? So I have to recognize it. I have to name it. All right. What is it? I just feel like my voice is irrelevant. Period. Okay. So as much as people want to call me when they have problems, when I talk to you every day, you don't listen. So it has now made me feel like my voice is irrelevant. So in order to tame that, when I understand that people are not going to listen for whatever reason, I am getting the vocabulary to where I don't take it personal. But I'm also learning how to set healthy boundaries where these people just can't have access to me when they want to use me up, because that's how it begins to feel. Okay? I got to deal with it within me, but I got to recognize what's going on first. So this week, do a self-check. Go through your emotional history. Try to figure out one thing at a time, because it could be overwhelming. Figure out one thing this week and try to put vocabulary to it. Recognize what it is, call it out. If you don't know how to put it, Google is man's best friend right now. It even got the little Gemini on it. All right. Healthy EI vocabulary for anger. Healthy EI vocabulary. It'll give you some words, and then try to practice that. Do one thing. Okay. Because once we can do that and we recognize these patterns within ourselves, we can start getting healthier. You've got to get healthy. You got to start dealing with the heart work, which is why I say that's the hard work. And I'm not talking about the natural thing. I'm talking about in the supernatural. Okay? Our emotions, like I said, they are not who we are. They don't define you. Okay? But they are relevant, and they're there with a purpose. All right? So this week, I want you to stay focused. I want you to stay humble, but most of all, stay positive. Be the best version of you unapologetically. No one else can do it. And as we're learning to do that, we have to be willing to deal with these 3 spirits: fear, pride, victim mindset. Okay? We've got to start getting that to where we get it under control, that it does not control our journey. We better than that. All right. Life happens for you. It does not happen to you. Don't forget that. No matter what's going on, self-control is the best control to have. And we've got to get our emotions in check. So once we get past the instinct, we make the right choice in our emotions. Okay. So, retreat. I'm doing a retreat. I have Prophetess Kiki as my guest. We're going to go more into the neuroscience of many things. It's a 3-day retreat about being who you are unapologetically. It's an unapologetically me 3-day retreat. If you're interested in getting information, email at info@IamNicoleDJones.com. Jacinta, I don't know if you're on here, if you can put the link in. I'm only sharing it with the Monday call. I'm not putting it anywhere else. It's going to be 3 days. It's going to be intimate. It's all inclusive. We'll have a massage therapist there. We're going to have our personal chef, but it's really an unapologetically me retreat. It's really learning how to deal with the mindset. It's understanding the neuroscience. It's dealing with these spirits, because this is a fixed fight and we win. But a lot of times we don't know how to get there. We don't know what to do. Okay? That's not, this life is simple, but what's simple to do is also simple not to do. All right? So if you're interested, you can email. I think Jacinta would have dropped the link in. And yeah. So again, I am Nicole D. Jones, and I want you to continue to have a fantabulous rest of the day. Smooches.